Hello again, thanks for joining us. I'm Ernest Mino. Now, eat what you grow. This according to President Akufo-Addo at the 35th National Farmers Day celebration at the Jubilee Park in the Volta region. The president says consuming local produce will boost self-sufficiency. He said the success of government's efforts in ensuring self-sufficiency in rice production depends largely on the level of consumption of locally produced items. He's therefore urged Ghanaians to help promote the efforts of farmers by patronizing made-in-Ghana goods. The president also said his administration will continue to prioritize and support agriculture to make the sector one of the most viable driving forces of Ghana's economic development and transformation. Let's go live to the Jubilee Park now in the Volta region. Ivy Setoji joins us with some updates. Ivy, the president has been talking about eating what we grow, and he mentioned, rice production, for instance. Did he say what government is doing to help boost production and also to help address the issue of post-harvest losses, for instance?
Well, the president he said that the government or his administration is doing everything possible to make sure that farmers across the country enjoy reap their labor, and he's also encouraging Ghanaians to eat what they grow, especially with the rice and other crops. He said things have improved his administration, and he hopes that more benefits to be given to farmers across the country. So these are some of the things the president has been talking about.
Well, Ivy, we know that the Minister for Agriculture, Dr. Akoto Efriye, is also there. What has he been saying?
He also said the planting for food and jobs has been a great success, all thanks to the farmers and stakeholders. And he's asking them to bring on board innovation measures to make sure that these things work. He's also urging the farmers to work harder, especially those who are not able to pay their awards this year, so that next year they can be part of the award. He's also saying that he also said that they will bring innovative ways on board to improve upon farming activities in the country.
Now, the big question is, who won this year? Who is our national best farmer?
So the national best farmer this year is Charles Jemfi from the Bronx Ahafo region.
Ivy, can you give us the name again?
Yeah, Charles Jemfi from the Bronx Ahafo region. He had a cash prize of 536,000 Ghana cedis and 500,000 insurance from Glyco. So Charles Jemfi from the Bronx Ahafo region is this year's best farmer, national best farmer.
Ivy, do we know what he's actually farming and what he's involved in actually?
He has crops, cocoa, snails, and cattle, and other crops. You know, he's both into crops and fish. He does everything according to what he told us, and he also supports people in his area to farm, and also support people, especially students in his area, to further their education. So he is into every crops, fishing, and every other farming activity.
And just before you go, Ivy, you mentioned fish. It is a part of the conversation that usually goes under the radar. The Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture was there. What was her message to farmers as we celebrate them today?
She said things are improved, especially with the close season, and that this year they are expecting that things will improve more by next year. He's asking for collaboration from the farmers, the fisher folks across the country, to make this dream come true, that they always should have a bumper harvest, especially with the close season.
Many thanks, Ivy Setoji, for bringing us up to speed with the celebration of Farmers' Day in the Volta region today, where the president was speaking today and asking Ghanaians to eat what we grow, and that can be the best form of reward we can give our farmers, but also will be contributing to national development. Let's stay on Farmers' Day today. The Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana is accusing government of neglect and failure to deliver on assurances made especially to rice farmers. Now, president of the group, Abdul Rahman, says since government promised they would buy excess rice on their farms, no action has been taken.
Some of the rice are still on the farm. And you can imagine this time Hamatan is starting. Bushfires are coming. So our farms are not secure. And the reason is because there are no combined harvesters to harvest them. That is the more reason why the rice is still on the farm. Thirdly, no storage that we could even store those that we have harvested that is on the ground now. We need storage. We need also to sell them, which government promised buffer stock to come and mop the produce from us. But as I'm telling you, as to date, we haven't seen them. So those are our challenges.
Now, we also spoke with the head of the National Buffer Stock Company. Apart from buying up your produce, Mr. Abdul Wahab Hanan mentioned that they would get you storage facilities like warehouses. Have these been provided?
Well, we have, if it were provided, as you're asking me the question, I'll just tell you that it has been provided at these locations. But my rice is still on the farm. It's still on the farm, not me alone, including my members, some of them who have gone into that production. The rice are still there.
Well, convener for the National Rice Millers Association, Yao Edupoko, says government has engaged its outfit and they will start buying the rice in the coming week.
According to the Minister of Agriculture, what we left the table with is that he wants immediate action, and immediate means like yesterday. And so the bank by Tuesday should come out of the modalities where selected millets across the country would be used as the experiment, if I can put it that way, for us to see how it will pan out. So this is what we are on. I am, as at now, preparing after the Farmers' Day to move to Fumbisi. My people are already there. We're checking the moisture level, we're checking the quality of the rice before we make a commitment. So by Wednesday, most of us will be up there picking rice, hopefully. The managing director of Agric Development Bank, who was also present at the meeting, said he is ready and that those who have been selected is going to make sure he pass forward the processing for us so that we immediately pick the rice from the farm gate.
Now, challenges in the agricultural sector range from high cost of inputs to lack of access to markets. In spite of the hurdles, though, a young man in Kumasi is making progress in fish farming after giving up his profession as a telecommunication engineer. Lawrence Kuma is already challenging university graduates to look into farming as a serious business to create wealth. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin has the rest of the story.
Initially, or let me see, at the beginning when I got into the catfish, I started with only 1,005 fingerlings, and one thing is I was just making a try, and after harvest, I got to know that I spent only 8,000 on the 1,500 fingerlings, but the profit was 7,000. So I got to know, no, then I think I have to invest more into the catfish.
Meet 35-year-old Lawrence from Tafo Estates in Old Tafo Municipality, who took what many will consider a difficult decision to quit engineering into fish farming.
At the beginning, I thought it was one of the interest. It was one of my interest subjects, and before I was doing electronics, and before I got into the telecom engineering. But when I came into fisheries, before I realized I shouldn't have wasted my time. If I had started early into the fisheries, I have gone far than as I am now today. If you really want to be a farmer, when I was at that age, your parents wouldn't advise you to be into the farming because they thought farming wasn't a good job. But But I can tell you, farming is one of the best jobs.
Lawrence, who graduated from the Ghana Telecommunication University, knew little about fish farming at the time he decided to venture into it. Lawrence is making a mark as an upcoming fish farmer.
If I stock, anytime I stock 2,000, I normally spend about sometimes 15,000 Ghana cedis on them. And after harvest, I used to get 30,000 or 35,000 Ghana cedis every harvest. I normally harvest every 6 months. Yeah.
So every 6 months you harvest and you get about the profit of how much?
A profit of 20,000 cedis every 6 months. So within a year, meaning I will be getting 40,000, but I will use that 20,000 as an expense for paying my workers and other expenses. Yeah.
For Lawrence, fish farming was the best for him at the time he breathed the idea of venturing into agriculture. The trained engineer has no regret changing course because he is reaping the fruits. Challenges abound in such an enterprise, but Lawrence has conditioned himself to meet them as they come.
Yeah, at my initial stage, the challenges I faced was when I, after constructing the ponds, bought the fingerlings, bought the fish feed. The fingerlings I bought were about 7,000 fingerlings, and I needed more than what the money left to feed the fish. So at that stage, if you don't have, like, if you don't feed them properly, the growth normally don't go on well properly. So I had to find strategic way of feeding them by using the locally fish. And although I couldn't make through, but it was okay. After the challenges, the challenges were there. I couldn't get much after harvest because the more you feed them, the more your profit. So I lost a lot. And then the type of fingerlings too I stocked that time, they were hybrid. So the bigger ones were feeding on the smaller ones. I didn't know about sorting, and after harvest, the number of fishes I was having was very less, and this was really a loss.
What happened to them? Did they die, and how much did you lose from that?
They didn't die, but the bigger ones were feeding on the smaller ones, simply because I did not sort them. Because when you stock fish, it gets to a time like 2 months, 3 months. Every 2 months, you need to sort them. You sort them. You bring the smaller ones from the bigger ones. You group them into sizes, so that each when they are of the same size, they cannot feed on the other.
So how much did you lose from that?
Okay, after I quite remember, I spent 30,000 constructing the fish pond at the early stage, and after harvest, the money I had was about, I got only 10,000 Ghana cedis, which wasn't enough, but I'd never lose hope. I tried to push on, and before I started with tilapia, and at times when they were about 5 months, when I come, I could see about 200 fishes floating, and so I realized it was from the water. And tilapia, normally they always need clean water. They are not like catfish. So after those challenges, I make research, and I got to know about catfish. And but with catfish, they don't die like tilapia when it comes.
In health or in sickness, he is resolute in growing, he says, to the glory of God.
It's the Farmers' Day edition of the Pulse here on your JoyNews channel with me, Ernest Minu. We're taking a break. When we come back, we have more stories for you, plus a conversation on land, how the land tenure system affects agriculture.